Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're here once again with the Dark Elves, going to be taking on the Skaven today, hence the Lizard Limo here for Malekith. So it's been a little bit since I've used this guy, so we're going to take a look at Malekith on this particular mount today. It's a favorite pick of mine up against the Skaven. It does still give him plenty of AP damage, 120 armor, 66 speed with an 80 charge bonus. Of course, being Malekith, he's got all his spells here. We've actually got Lore of Darkness for that extra wind's magic. Blade Wind is a nice Vortex spell, and Vortex spells in general are pretty decent against the Skaven. Soul Stealer in case we need to heal Malekith and drain single model entities. And we've got Gaze of Malice, of course, as well. For some additional support, we've got the Death Hag here. She's been stripped of all her abilities. She's just up on this Cauldron of Blood here with the cool statue. Very, very cool unit model. One of my favorite unit models in Game 2, actually. Looks absolutely awesome. We've got a unit of Witch Elves there as well. In terms of other infantry, we've got 2 Dread Spears, 2 Bleak Swords, and 2 Blackheart Corsair Handbows. These guys are going to be very nice in this matchup. They'll be great against Rat Ogres, things like that, and they have the armor and combat stats to cut through low-tier Skaven infantry relatively easily. They can also fire in 360 while moving, so they're very strong in that aspect. We've also got 3 units of the Lizard Limos proper. These guys have a very nice armor-piercing missile attack. As you can see, the charioteers here, these 2 guys on the back, are indeed carrying the repeater crossbows. So, in addition to that, of course, they're armor-piercing, being that they have the cold ones as the animals pulling it there. And yeah, overall, very strong, 110 armor. Not the best combat stats, but I mean, obviously, they're a chariot. And having that armor-piercing missile attack makes them one of the strongest chariots in the game, in my opinion. In addition, we've also got a couple of Dark Riders with repeater crossbows in Vanguard, just because they're, nice mobile armor-piercing missile option, and the Skaven don't have anything that can actually catch them if you're on top of your micro. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Skaven list here. You can see plenty of chaff units over on this side. We've got a mix of Skaven Slaves and Skaven Slave Spears, a core of Plague Monks here. We've got 2 regular Plague Monks and 2 Plague Monk Censer Bearers with 2 units of Rat Ogres. We've also got 2 Plague Furnaces here, one of which has spells, one of which does not. This one that has spells, it looks like we're looking at Pestilent Breath and Vermintide, so both very good spells there. We've also got a Gracier Lore of Ruin for the lore choice here, and he's got a myriad of abilities here. He's got Scorch. That's the bound ability for the chariot there. Looks like he's just got Warp Lightning and actual Scorch as well, so just looking for area of effect damage out of this guy. And we've also got a Doom Wheel and some additional slaves over on the far side. So let's go ahead and kick the battle into full gear, and we'll watch as things unfold. So yeah, right off the bat, we're going to be getting up and doing some skirmishing with the Lizard Limos there. My opponent does unleash a Breath Attack, but that Breath Attack's not going to do anything to chariots. Likewise, he also unleashes a Warp Lightning. Warp Lightning, I'm curious to see if it actually does. It did a tiny bit of damage. Maybe if you got directly on one of the unit models, it would do a bit more, but overall, not going to be the best there. And we're going to draw this Rat Ogre into a very unfavorable position here. You can see the crossfire from the Blackheart Corsair Handbows coming in, doing a lot of damage to these Rat Ogres. I am taking a little bit of damage on these chariots, but nice bait and switch here. Malekith's also going to come in and start to put down these Rat Ogres here on his Lizard Limo. You can see him swiping off the side there. And the cold ones themselves will also do some attack animations. We've got Clan Rats being summoned through, the bells coming through as well. So we're going to fall back here with the missile chariots and just do some, missile attacks, obviously. The Witch Elves are going to run in there, start to enrage the Rat Ogres here. And because this Gracier Lore of Ruin is a little bit isolated, we're going to be able to get on him. And you can see here I'm charging straight through these Plague Monk Censer Bearers, and this is my one issue with Plague Monk Censer Bearers. They're a very powerful unit, but they're also very expensive, and one bad charge from a unit of chariots like this, or a cheap spell or ability like Gaze of Malice, or, Wind Blast or things like that, can put them down very easily. And for the cost, they can just take so much shock damage so quickly that, in certain situations they can definitely be worth it, but it's very hard to make them pay off. You can see here, though, the Contaminate combined with the Terror is able to rout away these Dread Spears very quickly. Meanwhile, in the center pocket here, Malekith's doing very well, unleashing a Blade Wind on this pocket here with these routed Dread Spears, doing quite a bit of damage to those Plague Monks, riding through some Skaven Slaves as well. Malekith on the Chariot will definitely do a lot of damage, and he's going to be very hard for the Skaven to catch without using the Rat Ogres. Rat Ogres are still fighting in this pocket here. You can see Witch Elves are not having the best time getting run over by the Skaven cart and all that, but the Chariot core is still very, very strong. One unit, unfortunately, did get enraged, and that's the one issue with the Cold One Chariots, is if their health gets too low, they'll get enraged. But against a faction like the Skaven, as long as you keep them on the move, you'll be alright. So because this Grey Seer here is a little bit isolated, we're going to come back and try and goon him. A very nice Warp Lightning. Actually, I think ended up doing more friendly fire there, and likewise the Doom Wheel shot also doing quite a bit of friendly fire, enough so those Skaven slaves actually tear out away. This Death Hag on the Cauldron of Blood does indeed cause terror, so we're going to get a little bit of a parking lot situation here with these chariots kind of bumping into each other. And, you know, despite all of this looking very silly and disconjointed, we are in fact doing a lot of damage to this this Grey Seer here, and because it's all isolated, we're going to be able to do quite a bit of work here. Have used at least one Soul Stealer to drain away a nice pocket of single model entities, and we want to take advantage of Malekith's charge bonus, so we're going to pull up and around and charge from behind. As you guys have heard me mention before, attacks from behind are not subject, I guess would be the way to put it, to melee defense. Yeah, they do not get defended whatsoever, so attacks in the side or in the rear, for that fact, are not subject to melee defense. So when you're in that situation, you know, you want to try and get a rear attack if possible, especially in single entity combat. It matters quite a bit, and that's why rear charges are so effective. I mean, obviously, besides the morale penalties, units attacking in the back are not subject to melee defense, so it's very powerful in that aspect. You can see over here these lizard limos running through these Skaven slaves. Not too much of an issue. The balance power is still very even, though. I mean, there are still 2 Plague Furnaces online, some tattered Rat Ogres chasing off my Dread Spears here, and we did lose some of those Dark Riders, unfortunately, due to some mismicro there, but overall, things are looking pretty good. More Plague Monks being routed away by Terror, and I mean, Plague Monks do have the Frenzy, so when their leadership's high, they're immune to Psychology, but once that Frenzy drops, they are going to be weak to Terror routing. We do still have these Black Ark Corsair handbills over on the side, a little bit of mismicro by me, but we'll pull them back into the main fight shortly. At this point, we're just pulling up into range with these Lizard Limos, who have already racked up quite a few kills each, 76 and 80 on these 2 units here. They're going to unload their armor-piercing missiles onto this Plague Furnace here. He is going to try and use that bound ability to do a little bit of damage, but honestly, those breath-type attacks won't do much against single model, or I guess not single model, but low model count units like these chariots. Fortunately, this one does get enraged right before I'm able to pull it away, but we are coming in with Malekith and the Death Hag here as well, so they're going to come in and, again, get a little bit of a parking lot situation, a little bit of, I guess, a demolition derby, you could call it, with the Lizard Limos and the Death Hag having a derby with the 2 Plague Furnaces here. We are going to get more Clan Rat summons. And these Sensor Bears, I mean, they will do quite a bit of damage. You can see they are able to rout away that Cold One Chariot, but we do still have the other 2 units online. We've also got these Dark Riders with Repeater Crossbows online, and here comes the Backbreaker. We're getting a beautiful Soul Stealer on all these targets here, and I can't remember who was asking me, maybe Atticus or one of you guys down in the comments was asking me about how Soul Stealer works. It's scaled best against single model entities. It'll heal you, you know, depending on how many units you're draining, but it scales best against single model entities like these 2 Plague Priests. So when you have a situation like this where you have multiple heroic units or, you know, big monsters or whatever in that kind of area of effect, that's an ideal situation to use Soul Stealer. Of course, we did catch those Plague Monks as well. As a bit of a bonus, it does do damage to them, but the scales best against the single model entities, and you can see the Plague Priest actually getting terrified away by the Death Hag, so her chariot, I'll tell you what, it's definitely a lot scarier than the Skaven Hoopty cart here. You can see just kind of the, it almost looks like, it's like a bulldozer pushing the Skaven along, but anyway, Demolition Derby aside, a bit of a fun battle, a bit of a silly battle as well, but been too long since I've been able to take the Lizard Limos out for a spin, so we decided to do just that today. 164 kills on Malekith himself between all of his magic and charging around on the Chariot. Absolute MVP. 52 kills on the Death Hag as well. Very nicely done. They also took down the Grey Seer and, you know, helped take down some of these other units as well. The Doom Wheel did manage to get 83 kills, and both the Plague Furnaces did okay. The Plague Monk Sensor Bears, though, you can see what I'm talking about in having such a squishy, expensive unit. I think that Wildwood Rangers kind of suffer from the same issue, but they're so expensive and so squishy that any kind of shock units or heavy ranged fire is just going to put them down so fast that it'll be hard to make them cost effective. Just in general, a lot of the Skaven infantry got run over there, and credit to the Cold One chariots and obviously Malekith himself in doing so. Black Ark Corsairs, one of them got run over pretty hard, but the Witch Elves came in, did some nice damage. The Bleak Swords and Dread Spears, I mean, you kind of expect them to get run over, and they did. But overall, Lizard Limos definitely proving their worth in that particular battle. So hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this kind of content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.